Mm-hmm.
Hello. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Here with Women That Shred. I'm kind of laughing. I'm kind of not. I have Kalinah Tellase here, who was someone that I just literally was introduced to via a call, like a group call that we were on. And you reached out and we got Zoom. And we you became one of my mentee last week, like officially, right? Like I'm your mentor.
Yes, it was like it just kind of organically happened, and I think that's what's supposed to happen. Oh,
I asked Kalinah, I was like, do you want to be on my show? So this is kind of perfect because this 1 hour call that we had, it would have been perfect had we had recorded the entire thing because you had a lot of really insightful questions and our conversation was really incredible. So that's why I was like, this will be great to kind of continue that conversation. So, before we start, and this is like a reason why I really wanted to do this show, and the reason why I'm so grateful for Josh Pitts for allowing me to kind of have this platform and have a voice, is because I'm trying to have people on this show that are willing to be real, right? And kind of just be themselves, transparent, kind of open up and talk about things that maybe are uncomfortable to talk about, because the only way to do that is the only way we can change things is by talking, right? And communicating and maybe talking about things that are uncomfortable. So before we went live, I jumped on this call with Kalinah and Dal, who's producing in the back end, and I was angry and I was frustrated, obviously with everything going on right now. Like I have a lot of emotion about it, and I just didn't know, should I do a show, because I am so kind of like amped with a lot of feelings about what's going on. But I thought, you know what, just like Dal said on before, that's how we create change, right? So that's why I was like, let's just continue with the show. And then Kalinah, I think it's great because you are 24, you're younger in this industry. So it's like, I love that we're going to hear a very different perspective of what it means to begin a new phase, right? Because I'm 46 and I'm going to begin a new phase soon. You just began one. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the fact that you are newly in the financial services industry, right? So tell the audience what you did before, because I love this, because this is also something that we have in common.
yeah. Let's see. I was an art teacher very young. I started very, very young, like at 16, at like a private art studio. I also went to art school a lot, so like we built a connection. I volunteered there a lot. And I thought that was my goal. I was like, I'm really good with kids. I love kids. They respect me. They're fun. They're always like, I guess I would say their truest form, as before you turn into adult and you see all these things. It's like, I want to still be this kid to be able to play, and like, this is my only escape. Until I realized, like, it was also my passion too. I love to do art. There's my painting behind me.
Oh, that's yours?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Is that acrylic or oils?
I'm a oil painter, so I'm more of an oil painter.
Okay.
I like the traditional stuff.
I tried oils, I just couldn't. I do acrylic.
I'm not good at acrylic, so I do oil. That's my favorite thing. Um, but yeah, I did that for about like 7 years, and then I think at the seventh year, that's when I realized like I don't really like it as much as I do it, or like do art, like my paintings and stuff. And I'm just like, I want to change. I want something new, but I don't know how to get out of it. I don't know how to like just jump to a totally different career, like start from scratch. That's like the scariest thing.
That
I
is scary.
Yeah, like starting from scratch at a different age when you're supposed to start at scratch at like age of 14 or 15. Like, oh, I want to start doing this, or like, oh, I want to be like a doctor, or like, I want to be this person, or like this job. So that's where it came to be.
How did it become from art to financial services? Because that is a very big difference. So
is.
how's that one about?
Okay, so like with that, what made that jump was just, I think it was for me, I always follow this quote: take a leap and a net will appear. So like
Oh, I
take
like
that opportunity, take that chance, and something will appear, even if you fall. So um, my boyfriend at the time, we wanted to have our own place. I want my own art studio. That's what I was looking for, to kind of like do social media with my art, because like I never done that. I love doing art. I'm really good at it, so might as well do it.
that.
You
Yeah.
know. So Vegas was an option. It's cheapest. We can have a lot of rooms. And then once I made this jump, that's when I hit, to be honest, like rock bottom. Rock
Mm.
bottom. I totally detached and quit my job, moved to a brand new state, relying on my boyfriend, having like $3,000 in my account. And I'm just like, I don't know what to do. Until like I was searching, and I did an old connection. I reconnected. He's also my mentor as well in the finance industry. It's Andrew Jessicova. Go check him out. He's always on LinkedIn.
I gotta connect with him now. Now that we're like both your mentors.
I was like, oh my god, he knew you before me. And I was like, dang it.
Oh, you already knew? Oh, okay. Well, shoot. Now I feel badly.
It's okay. I was like late to the game in LinkedIn. I was like, oh no. But like he was looking for a marketer, and that at the time I was like, marketing is an industry that would never die. Because I was looking now more not job security, but just a job that will be like forever.
Well, that's smart. Not a lot of people do that. They want what, like, in the now. And so good for you
Yeah,
for actually having that, awareness of, all right, what's going to have longevity here?
yeah. Because I was like, as an art teacher, I think I just hit like my glass ceiling. I'm just like, okay, is this all I could do, or like, is there something more to it? But then I called him, and I said, I like put myself out there. I was like, I will do anything and absolutely everything to put my mind and focus on this career. And um, before that, rewinding to like 2018, 2017, we reconnected. He like reached out to me to help him with some PR stuff. But that was like I was in college. I had a part-time job. It was too hard, too much things going on. So
He needed you for freelance work. Now it's full time.
now full time. And then I also believe in the universe. Like it's telling me to jump on this. Like this
Yeah.
is the second time an opportunity from him presented. So I was like, okay, I'm actually gonna lean into it. I'm gonna really focus and really study. It'll help me be out of my rock bottom, do something new, and also my mindset as well. When I was younger, I was like, I can never do math. I'm not good at finances. I'm not good with money. But look at me now, in the opposite direction.
Well, I always said the same thing too. I'm like, I'm not a math person, same as you. I did, was an artist or am an artist, was an art history major in college, super creative, right? But like, it's really cool that you can take those skills, that skill set, and still apply it to this industry. Why that's why I'm in marketing and branding and social media. And same thing with you. Like you've now realized like you have creativity, you have all of that, and that is needed right now. So if anything, like it's kind of cool that we have the that skill set that is definitely needed in this industry. Hey, Michael and Christina. So yeah, like that's perfect, right? That you guys, and then you don't really have to know the math. Like, let's be real. I mean, I don't ever really use math. Yeah. So is that like essentially like where you're going towards is that marketing
Yeah,
field?
well, like now since I've been in the mortgage, it's been like a year and a couple months now in the mortgage industry. I love it. How it's like a little bit of both. I love structure. I love following the rules and applying it, and then helping with other people in their situations and merge them together. I'm just like, oh, it's like a puzzle. I'm
Yeah.
solving a crime scene or something.
I essentially kind of have, I think, the same way. So let me ask you this, beginning a whole new career, a whole new phase, how has it been for you? I mean, did it take a while for you to kind of adjust, or did you kind of come in and think, all right, this isn't as bad as as it would seem? Like, how was it for you? Were people accepting of you right away? Like, I'm just curious if it was hard for you.
Oh, it was definitely hard emotionally, and then the mentality will get there because like you're so filled. Like as I said, I was at rock bottom. I was like, I have nothing to show for. I moved out. I'm literally all by myself with my ex at the time, but like
Yeah.
just really
Yeah.
by myself. And I have the freedom to do anything I want, freedom to choose, to think, behave, show what I want to do. So just jumping into this industry, I realized a lot about myself as a person. I'm a very performance based person. So, like, I'm always trying to perform the best or do my absolute best. I'm also a slight perfectionist. So, with that in mind, it's a little bit harder for me to enjoy the process, but I definitely love the rewards I'm reaping and the knowledge I'm gaining. Um, I do say, like, in the beginning, it will be tough just because you feel like, as a Gen Z and 24 years old, you're so used to instant gratification. Like, oh,
Mhm.
this should happen at this time. Oh,
Yeah.
I should be at this expectation. So I think that's personally what I think. I'm not saying for all Gen Z out there, but like as me as an older Gen Z, like the cusp of it at 1997, that's what I'm
Okay.
feeling. And how I progressed in the beginning. In the
No,
beginning,
I mean, you and I spoke about this on this call. Like, you're doing, I mean, you really are putting yourself out there. The fact that you did reach out to me and we did get on this call and you're here already on this show, like, it says a lot about you and how you are willing to do what it takes and to learn from others. And so already that in itself is going to take you far, because just to give you some perspective, um, when I was 24, I was living in Virginia. Had just moved out here when I was 23 for my ex-husband. I had just gotten married. I found out I was pregnant right after I got married. I was in a totally different space and place in my life. Like, super young. Now I'm going to be a mom. I ended up being a stay-at-home mom. So for me, and I never had a career before that. So when I got divorced at age 35, having been a stay-at-home mom that entire time, I literally started from scratch at age 35. So my beginning phase started there, and I had lots of beginning phases because I was in different industries, right? So it's like, it's interesting how when you and I spoke, you already felt like you needed to know, like, already the trajectory of your life and like what your career is going to be. And I was just like, no, no, no. It is ever evolving. The beginning phase is going to happen many times for you. So it's like you said, having that mindset when that happens, because I feel like too many of Gen Z think like, okay, I'm going to fall into a career and that's going to be it, right? Like, I know that's changed where most people realize that careers changed, but for whatever reason, I still think that there's that societal pressure of having to know what you want to do with your life when you're young. Like,
yeah,
I don't know why that still exists, to be honest, that pressure. Because really, like I said, I'm 46. I'm about to move across the country again and basically start all over again. I mean, I'll have the same job, but it'll be with different people. Like, I'm going to have different coworkers and different colleagues. So it's letting you know, like, hey, girlfriend, it doesn't, like, you're going to have these occurrences, down the future. So I love that you have your mindset's great. Like,
I built it up as a starter because I think it's like, I think the first time of a new beginnership, because I've been in the art industry ever since I was a kid. I never left out of it. I was like, I want to stay. I love it so much. It's so comfortable. I know how to do well in this expertise.
yeah.
And I think it's just me being afraid to look like stupid or fail kind of held me back because I was like,
It holds a
such
lot of people back, and I think it'll and will always forever that. Do you know how many times I like do something and I'm like, God, that was so dumb, or I looked so stupid, or I still struggle with that insecurity and that, kind of negative self-talk. So if you can acknowledge it even at that age, at your age, because I didn't even acknowledge it at that age. Thank you, Christina. She's in LA, so she's like ready to welcome me back into California. But yeah, as long as you realize that and have that awareness, because like at your age, I was such a perfectionist. I still struggle with OCD, but it was really bad at that time. It was pretty hardcore. So for me, I didn't even like think about those things. So it's great that you're thinking about that, because yeah, like that negative self-talk, like that's some real stuff, and it really affects us. And we're gonna have our moments, but I don't think at the end of the day, if like you're trying your best and you're doing what you can, like nobody can say that you're being stupid or dumb, or we're human, we make mistakes. you know
yeah, that's true. And it's just like you have to accept that like you're not gonna be like, yes, you can show up every day, but doesn't mean you'll be showing up like 100% every day because it's like you're gonna be burnt out super quick. And
yeah.
like I keep going in this cycle of being burnt out really, really quick every time. And I'm just like, something's not right. I don't know yet, but something's not
Yeah,
right.
well, let me ask you this, because I had one of my colleagues on here, Gabrielle, and she's fantastic, and she's around your age, maybe a couple years older, maybe 26, 27. But we were having the conversation about how the Gen Z's well, not so much millennials, but more Gen Z, when they come into a new industry and they start out, they for some reason are expected to do more work, and they also are expected, like everyone assumes, because they are young, that they should be at the later functions, or that they should be longer, have longer hours at work, and that's okay because they're young, right? They've got the energy. So let me ask you, like, your perspective on that. Do you feel that? Do you get that sense of like everybody looks at you as this young girl, so then you maybe have to do more that's expected of others? Not to like you know make anyone feel badly about it, but like, I mean, I feel like it's a real thing.
I think like as a Gen Z, you definitely with technology, you're always the one getting back to like, hey, how do you fix this? Hey, how do you do
They assume that
this?
technology, at all.
Yeah, like we're like supposedly the digital nomads. Like we grew up
Yeah.
with, yeah, digital. So like
Yeah,
I
good.
don't like that, but it's
Yeah.
just like I'm also the type of person where I will give you resources to help you, like in the future to not ask me again. That's my thing. I was like, you can ask Google. That's what I do.
Yeah.
You
Or
can
you can
ask
YouTube it.
look up YouTube videos because, like, in Gen Z, it's a very do it yourself, because there's so much content, so much information for
Yeah.
free. But then I think with Gen Z, it's harder on us in terms of analyzing what's good information and what's bad information. What's something.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That yeah, not all information is good and not all information is accurate. So then yeah, you have to decipher the difference. I did not even think about that. That's like an actual thing that you think about.
It is because, like, I think just like noticing like other Gen Zers or just people around my age, we research a lot. We look at like reviews, we look at Reddit, we look at a lot of word of mouth things before we actually go to a company and say or like do things or like interact
Yeah.
because like it's really important for us of who we represent and who we want to be or like with me, I love bucket hats. I love I'm making my own bucket
I
hat.
love that you are.
Because like I'm trying to find these companies or like fashion designers who are interested or be, I guess, my brand, what I like, what I do represents me, that
Yeah.
kind of thinking. So
Yeah, I
like,
know. Yeah, after the show, she'll have to give us like good websites on bucket hats. I would love one too. Yeah, you got bringing them back. But I have to like point out when you just mentioned, and Dal and I had this conversation when she was on the show, and I actually took a snippet of it and repurposed it. And I think a lot has to do with, like, in our industry, obviously I work for a mortgage company, so I work with our loan officers on their brand and being present on social media. And I'm always talking about how when you're dealing with Gen Z, it's different. They are Googling you. If you don't have a social media presence, if they can't find you online, then you might as well not exist to them, right? Like, so the
Yeah.
fact that you just said that you actually researched, you look at reviews, like you pay attention to all those things, I think that's really important, because right now in our industry, we're really trying to be able to connect and grasp that Gen Z that for home ownership, because you guys are the future home buyers, right? But for whatever reason, like, there's this disconnect. And so I love having you and other Gen Zs on here and explaining, like, how you guys work, how you function, how it's different for you. And so I might have to take that snippet too and share, kind of like justify like why it is that I tell a lot of these loan officers, like, get out there.
It's like, to us, if you don't have a social media presence, like, then we're like, who are you? You're not big, or it's just like, I
Right.
guess you're not well known as like you say you are on your website. Because
Yeah.
I get, and digitally, that's what we expect now, since we grew up with social media and like it's already here. We try to build up followers, we try to build up likes, because that associates to presence. Like, are you present in this world right now digitally?
Yeah.
Because yeah, you definitely go outside, do your thing, love Earth. I support that, but it's just like,
Really. Yeah.
soon everything's gonna be like digital,
Yeah.
and time flies, and you have to. I think for us, what's really hard, you have to keep up, and
Yeah.
that's really exhausting.
Yeah. And it's
Just
not like you had a say in it. Like, you grew up and that was what was happening, and it is happening around you, right? So it's like, it's I think it's odd that we're so quick to blame millennials and Gen Z for so much, but it's like, hey, step back. Look at how just the world is evolving in general. Like, naturally, if you're growing up in that environment, then that is normal to you. That is the norm, right? It might not be the norm to me because I grew up differently. So we have to also have kind of that compassion and that empathy for, like, what you have grown up with and what your world is like around you. So it's not so much like, social media, like, that's just like so fake and it's just all about, vanity. No, I mean, it literally is like how you get your information. It's literally how you let people know that you exist, that you're relevant, right? Like, it's staying on top of mind. So I love that these conversations pop up, because, like I mentioned in the beginning of the show, if we don't talk about these things, nothing's going to change, right? So it's like sharing all of this insight so that, for instance, in the mortgage industry, financial services industry, we understand that, like, our demographics are changing. The ages are getting younger and younger, and it's not the same as it was for a lot of us, just 10 years ago. So thank you for that. You're educating a lot of folks as well. So then
yeah.
let me ask you this. Like, do you have any advice, being that you are in the industry, any advice for those folks that are older, 40s, 50s, 60s, because the average age group, I think they say, of a loan officer is 54, right?
Okay.
So for those that are really like struggling right now to get business, because right now with the market, it is harder to get it's not falling on your lap like it was the last 2 years. So as a 24-year-old who could potentially, buy a home in the next couple of years, which you had mentioned on our call that you want to do, you want to invest in real estate, which I love. So, what is your advice to some of these loan officers or those that are really trying to tap into your demographic, into your market, but like just have no clue?
Okay. I was like, that goes a lot into it, because
I
like,
know, but some nuggets that maybe you can share.
okay, I think the number one thing is being authentic. We can tell you're being fake, or just like the sense of presence, like you're not really being the person you are. And like, we
Wow, that's huge.
just lurkers, and that's it. Like, no engagement, nothing. But if you're really authentic, you really say what you mean, you really like show up per se, then that's when we like, I guess, start talking. Start engaging, start being like, what if it's good or positive? You'll bring some voice out of us because that's just what I've seen. That's what I've actually personally looking at me, like going on social media, like, oh, this is just catered to, especially as a marketer, to these kind of people. But like, what's going to make me say, I like this?
Right.
Or,
Or I
um,
want to work with you. Or like if you're buying a home, what kind of loan officer would you gravitate towards, right? Like Dal already said that she already knows who's going to choose, she's going to choose, because this loan officer in particular talked about how they are a huge Taylor Swift fan. And so is Dal. So it's
yeah.
like she automatically felt this connection with this loan officer of like, oh my gosh, we're Swifties. So you, what would it like? What characteristics or what about like a particular loan officer would you feel like would you gravitate towards? Do you think?
I think it plays a lot in just who you are and the background of it. Like for me, my aunt shared a real estate agent who was Filipino, and I was like, "Oh, she's Filipino. That means she gets my culture. She gets the way we talk. She gets like these little nuances." So,
So you mirror, so you are all like, this is huge. Mirroring the communities that you are serving and working for. So the fact that you just said, wow, that person looks like me, they get me. Like, I don't think people realize like how important that is for someone to feel like someone gets them and sees them and hears them. And a lot of times it's the cultural connection.
and I think it's just feeling comfortable like with that person, because it's like if they're not comfortable, they're not going to make the jump. They're not going to be like, yes, I want this house.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
guess from my experience, it's just like I met a couple different loan officers or just working with them, but it's like I'm not as comfortable as I am with my mentorship. Like with my mentorship and we go all the way, balls to the walls, like talking about things, doing all
Yeah.
these things, and, like connecting, and then forming a bond, and then seeing where it goes.
Yeah.
So
So that
I,
is key. What you just said is that I think the Gen Z actually want a relationship with the person they're working with, where before you would just call up on a loan officer, just do what is needed. You didn't really care who that person was. They didn't really care who you were. They just knew that they wanted to close the loan and get you in that home. Now it's different. Now you want someone that you feel like could be a friend for life. Like a lot of these relationships become really good friendships. And that's essentially, I think, what a lot of you want. I know I want that, right? Like I would love to work with someone that I could forever have in my life if I really get along with them. I don't want it just to be transactional. And I think that's a big change in this industry too, where folks, it's not transactional anymore. It's an actual like relationship, you know?
building a relationship. So like especially like trying to calm their nerves or anxiety in the mortgage industry.
Yeah.
It's I always tell like these customers who always call me like all nervous or like what's going on. I'll be like, hey, it's okay. Just relax. We'll
Yeah.
find a solution or I'll find what's going on for you and get back to you. Like just that calm demeanor that like because we know this is a big step. Like we know it's huge and it's exciting. It's like a lot of emotions are involved. So you have to really be that calm voice in their head and be like, it's things do happen, just to let you know. Things are not always smooth or perfect, but just do your
Set the
best.
expectation. Like you appreciate someone that will set the expectation from the beginning. Say, hey, this is gonna might be a bumpy ride. It might go, super smooth and nothing might happen, but at the same time, something might, and that's normal. And there's no need to like flip out.
Yeah, because I hear a lot of them are like, why isn't this happening? Or what's going on? I'm just like, I feel like they're like the disconnect in the mortgage industry is just how the process goes. And I think that's where Gen Z, they want to know that so they feel ready, like their emotionally ready, and mentally ready to do it and be like, okay, I could do it. Because there's a lot of anxiety
Yeah,
ridden.
no. So you just said the disconnect of not really sharing the process up front. So that's another key thing, folks. Like They want to know about the process in advance. They want to know that it is going to be, you know, maybe somewhat of a roller coaster, but knowing how to calm their nerves, how to make sure that like they know that it's going to be okay. And um, so no, this is like golden. So I'm gonna like repurpose a lot of this stuff right here. But we're already at 30 minutes. See how quick it goes? It goes
But the
so
summer starts
fast.
soon.
I know, and that's why I always talk about how I'm gonna have like repeats on here, because I think that like, yeah, half hour doesn't do it justice. A lot of times. So we'll have to get back on here. But in the meantime, thank you, first of all, for stepping out of your comfort zone, coming on here, especially when we just, you know, first met. Thank you for, you know, really opening up and sharing your insight and, you know, just all of it. Like, I appreciate it so much. And I always appreciate the folks that jump on while we're live. I know a lot of people tend to watch the replay, you know, because people work and life happens. Yeah, so I thank you for Christina, who's always jumps on. I love it. She's such a big supporter, so I appreciate you, Christina. And I, you know, just wish everyone a great rest of your week. And let's, you know, let's be kind to one another, please. Like, let's just gratitude, kindness, love, all of the yummy things, please. And thanks, Kalinah.
No, thank you, Raquel, for inviting me.
Of course. Take care, everyone. See